Hi everyone. We've been having a few. Hi everyone. We're having a few technical problems there. I do apologize. Okay, it's all sorted out. Hi everyone. I'm coming to you today from Dallas, from my studio in Dallas. Last week we were in Seattle, and like every week I seem to be somewhere different. So that's the nature of the game, traveling all over the world, and it's just great to be back in Dallas for a while, and it's just great to see you all again. And I love all the messages coming up, and I just love the responses that we're getting. And I hope this is helping you to really get a hang of these concepts of think, learn, succeed, and that you're enjoying the mental health initiative that we're doing this year, this mental health makeover. And just in case you have forgotten or you haven't seen, please partner with me on our clinical research trials that we're going to be starting in April this year. We've already done the first part of the trial. We did over December, January, and we've got a few trials coming up over April, May, June, and then another lot in August, September. And we are so excited about this because, as you and I all know, that the current mental health industry, it literally is an industry, is broken. It's not helping people. Just by labeling and diagnosing people and trying to suppress symptoms is not dealing with people's issues. Depression, anxiety, all these things, these are not diseases. These are symptoms of something that is going on, and we need to be able to help people to identify these. And that is what my work is: help all the stuff, these book clubs, all the things I developed, the clinical trials, are all to help me, to help you manage your mental health. We all battle with mental health. This is not something new. So I'm asking you to partner with me on helping me fix this mental health system, this broken mental health system. Go to drleafresearch.com. We'll put it in the show notes, and you can see more about how you can help and partner. We've got to raise a lot of funds for this, and we'd really love your help. Okay, to get to today's book club, we are talking, as you know, about Think, Learn, Succeed. We've been studying this for the last month, and we're going to be doing this for another few weeks. And I just love this book. It's filled with so much content. Thank you for your great feedback. Today we are doing chapters 11, 12, and 13. And that's the community mindset, the support mindset, and the toxic stress, was the stress mindset. So let's begin with the community mindset. I'm going to be reading from page 87. Don't forget, guys, you can get the book, workbook, and DVD. Comes in a really cool pack. I've got all this over here. Comes in a really cool pack. This is wonderful 9-week study that you can do with groups of people, which is really fantastic to have the DVD and the workbook. And you've got these videos, these YouTube live videos. Remember, you can jump in anytime and join us. You can catch up with the previous ones. We did Perfect You last month, just in case you don't remember that. And then one more thing is, I'm not sure if you are aware, but I have released my first devotional. We released it about 2 months, 365 readings for peak happiness, thinking, and health. Switch on your brain every day. We've been getting great response from that. So if you've already got it, send us some feedback. And if you haven't got it, get it and send us some feedback. Remember, this book is on special at the moment. You can get it at drleaf.com. Dr. Leaf store at my store. And also don't forget to follow us on podcast. Follow my podcast on iTunes and on podcast and Stitcher, all the different places where you can follow on podcast. Please do that, because every week I release a podcast related to these concepts to help you. Remember to subscribe to our email list so that you can get our email with information. They're also supporting the content that we are talking about in the book that week. So I'm trying to give you as much as I can. You guys just have to now jump in and do the stuff and get the materials, and let's change this world together. Okay, so page 87, chapter 11, the community mindset. I'm going to just read a couple of things from there, as I usually do, and then talk it through. So first thing, human beings are social animals. Whether we like having alone time or not, we all need community. In fact, engaging positively with people in our social support network correlates with a number of desirable physical and mental outcomes. We are not designed to be alone. We are basically heal physically and mentally and function at higher levels in community. We need to connect with others. We need to build deep, meaningful relationships in order to stay mentally and physically healthy. We're not designed to be alone. Okay, so isolation can negatively affect our well-being. I'm reading the second paragraph on page 87. Isolation, on the other hand, can negatively affect our well-being. Tragically, studies done on infants in custodial care indicate that a lack of human touch or contact can be fatal for newborns and young children. Newborns and young children not getting enough touch, it can be fatal. We design for touch, we design for deep, meaningful relationships. It changes your brain, it heals your brain. Loneliness, continuing to read there because it's a really interesting statistic that's coming up. Loneliness actually increases the risk for premature mortality amongst all ages, making it a growing public health hazard. Isolation is a growing public health hazard. It increases the risk of dying by 50, early death by 50%. That's what that study is showing. Okay, so if we are connected with others, we decrease our chance of dying young. But when we don't connect, if we isolated, we increase our chance of dying young and dying from like weird things, because our body just does not respond well to being alone. So this community mindset is all about the need to connect, to reach out and work with others. So if you think, also right at the bottom of that page, I'll make a comment. No wonder social isolation has been used as a type of punishment or torture, which is crazy if you think of it. We should take the danger posed by isolation very, very, very seriously. Money should be invested in community, not in trying to find more drugs that are going to numb the brain and take away your experience of pain. We need to work through our pain in community. It doesn't make sense what they're doing in the mental health system. This is why I'm doing this research. This is why I'm doing this. Because we are told if you go through sufferings of life, if you experience something, you're told that you're a broken machine. You're told that you have a disease. Meanwhile, you're experiencing the conditions of life, the vagaries of life. We're all dealing with that. And one of the healthiest ways of learning or getting through these things is in community, helping each other, supporting each other. It changes our brain, it changes our body, it changes how our genes are expressing, it increases our resilience or our strength to deal with that stuff. Okay, the second paragraph on page 88. The more removed we become from human connection, the more potential there is for us to turn to the fantasy world as a replacement for reality. So people kind of get, when you are not connecting with others, you can go into your mind and create this fantasy world where it's not real. So we develop incorrect perceptions of how to view life and how to manage life, and our reactions to life become very strange. So we're not designed for isolation. There's actually a loneliness epidemic. I talk about that in the book. We are in a time in history where there is a loneliness epidemic. We've heard of a measles epidemic and a cholera epidemic. We currently have a loneliness epidemic. So we need to look at ourselves and think, are we lonely? Is there someone around us that's lonely? Can we change this? Can we create community? We should be putting money into finding ways of building community centers where people can come together and share and help each other. On page 88, third paragraph down, Dr. Julian Holt Lunsted has done a research on showing that social isolation and longevity, we need to spend more money on trying to find ways of overcoming social isolation in order to increase longevity, in order to live longer. Okay? We can all actively pursue a community mindset. It's a decision. What I have set up is basically something called bench therapy, which is something I developed back in South Africa, and it's something I used to do with my patients. Whenever I worked with someone, I always work with my patient, never in isolation. I always work with them within their community. So I work with the parents, the family, involve the community in their healing. A community mindset is one where you are honoring and respecting what that person is going through, and you are listening to them. And we all need to be listened to and to listen in a meaningful way. The community mindset is reaching out to others and finding ways of joining and helping each other. So the bench therapy is a great concept, and I've got places all over the country and all over the world that are implementing this concept of bench therapy, where it's so simple. You just basically put a bench in a church or a bench in a work environment or a community center. It could be something as simple as a log. And basically, when someone sits there, that if you go and sit down there, then you know that you're either going to listen to someone or you need to be listened to. And it's a place of non-judgmental support for each other. And that's just one aspect of a community center. Friends of ours have got this incredible community center in Seattle where they've raised funds and built this beautiful, beautiful multi-million-dollar community center in a very poor area where people can come and play basketball and can connect and do all kinds of groups. And it's become the light on the hill in that community. So there's always things that you can do. And if you have a look at page 89, basically, we just very quickly, when you adopt a community mindset, not only are you helping others, but you are helping yourself. You are improving your longevity. You are improving your mental and physical health. So always remember that. Couple of activation tips on page 89. The first one, think about what you could do to get out of the house and foster community in your area. Perhaps start a book club. You could be running a book club doing this very thing. Think, Learn, Succeed. Get the DVD, get the workbooks, get together and start a book club. Watch these YouTube videos together, talk about them, create an environment where you can sit and listen to each other and talk to each other. And listening, by the way, a community mindset which involves listening, this bench therapy concept, is not listening trying to think of the next thing you're going to say or telling people what to do or trying to fix them. Listening is really connecting with people. Let me tell you an amazing story very quickly related to this mindset and the next one that I'm going to share with you. There was a farmer in Cambodia who farmed rice paddies, and he had his leg blown off. And when you farm rice paddies, you've got to stand in water, and his legs were blown off through some accident that happened. And so he had like little wooden stumps, and he was standing in the water, and it was causing a lot of pain. So he was unable to really farm his rice paddies much anymore. So it was making him really depressed. So because they have such a community mindset in Cambodia, what they did was the community, the people that knew him, noticed that he was so depressed. So that's the first thing. They noticed. They were so community oriented that they noticed that he was so sad and so depressed and just withdrawing from people and like literally just like dying slowly. So they went to his house and they went and spoke to him. They said, "Why are you so sad? Why are you so depressed?" And they listened. They let him pour his heart out. They let him talk and express how he felt. And he explained that he can't farm anymore. And that was like really a problem for him because it's so painful for him. So they went to him. Number one, observed. Number two, they went to him and they listened. Number three, heard his problem. And then number four, they worked out a solution with him involved, directing the solution, asking him, "What do you want? How can we help you?" And he said, "I love farming. I miss farming." So they thought about it and they thought, well, why don't we give him a cow? And he can farm still, he can become a dairy farmer. So he doesn't have to stand in the water. So he doesn't have to have that terrible pain because of standing in the water because it was hurting his legs because they were stumps with just these little wooden the attachments to them. And that solved his problem. The depression went away. He didn't need an antidepressant. He needed community and a cow. I mean, that is such a great story to just show how we need to help each other, how solutions can be so simple. What did they do? They noticed. Are you noticing the people around you that are maybe lonely, depressed, and isolated? Are you yourself isolated? What can you do for yourself? What can you do for those people? Are you noticing them? Get out there, connect, talk, listen. Listen to them, ask them what they need, come together as a solution. We are so strong together. And this leads us into the next mindset, which is the support mindset, which is chapter 12, which is page 91. And I'm going to read just at the beginning again on page 91, the support mindset. An essential component to the community mindset discussed in the previous chapter is the power of healing in groups and reaching out to help others as opposed to just getting help for oneself. High levels of social support predictive eating and regular exercise do, while low levels of social support are damaging as high blood pressure. So when you have high blood pressure, your body is going to suffer major damage. And what they've found is when you support others, you lower your blood pressure. Supporting others is as effective as taking measures to lower your blood pressure. That's how, the effect of the decision to operate correctly in your mind has major implications on how your body will function, which is so exciting. And the second paragraph there, supportive relationships allow us to persevere through hard times. I mean, it's logical. You know, if you're not alone, you're going to push through. Next is halfway through page 91, the second paragraph. Social support helps us deal with the challenges we face, helps us give another perspective. That's what the story. Someone heard his problem. Someone took enough time to be caring enough to make those changes. They don't have to be huge, expensive changes. They need to be you showing love. You designed for this. We are designed for this. Interesting study at the bottom of this page. If you look at bottom of page 91, I talk about, in fact, there was a study done where the correlation between positive social support and happiness was almost double the correlation between smoking and cancer. This is a very interesting comparison because the causative link between smoking and cancer, we all agree. People know smoking can cause cancer, but we don't think about the fact that support can increase happiness. That correlation is stronger. Support will increase your happiness. When you reach out and help someone else, your happiness will increase. That peace of mind, that internal, that's a stronger link than between cancer and smoking. Okay, so smoking and cancer. So cancer, we all know smoking causes cancer. And we know that's a strong link. But there's an even stronger link between support and happiness. And they did a study at Berkeley where they actually asked people, if you consciously and deliberately decided to chose to develop your happiness, what would you do? And they asked people in the United States, and they all immediately said that they're going to do stuff for themselves, and their happiness didn't increase. And then they asked other people in Russia, Thailand, and Japan, and they have a community mindset. Those people said they would pursue happiness by reaching out and developing community and developing support, and their happiness increased. So we have so much evidence, and it's also logical if you look down deep inside of you. So if you turn over the page to page 92, I want to just briefly talk about another study I referenced there on the second paragraph, where I talk about support is crucial in a learning environment. I love this. A lot of the work I've done has been in schools and education, and I've done work in the United States, and we're going to be doing a lot more work in education and developing apps and all kinds of things to help people with learning, in addition to mental health, because some of the major problems in learning in schools is that their mental health issues are not being properly, so affecting learning. But to come back to this study and to learning and support, very interesting. A 2011 study found that the more support a student gave to other students versus receiving, the more positive his or her learning environment was, and the more the academic results improved. So if you're battling to learn, or you're in a bad place mentally and emotionally at school, at university, and you actually start a study group, or go help one of your friends or your classmates and go and sit with them and say, hey, let's study together. Or, I really understand this so well. Do you want me to help you with it? Or you understand that better than I do. In other words, working together, helping someone else, giving support, looking to give support, increased their happiness and peace at school and their academic skills. So, there's just endless studies. And also remember, I have the activation tips, and I'm going to just grab one of them and read one of them. And okay, I'm going to read on page 93, a support mindset activation tip. I want to read point number 6. This is on page 93. Always assume the best first. Create that positive energy, that loveness. Don't jump to conclusions and assume the worst about a situation or person. So in a support mindset, if you're going out to support someone, what I'm saying there is always assume the best first. Don't just assume because they look grumpy, or they look weird, or they look isolated, or they're aggressive, or they're snappy. If someone's in some kind of toxic behavior pattern, there is a reason. And that could be you. And you might be like that next week, and you might be needing help, and you don't want to be judged. You want to be heard. Put yourself in that position. We maybe get grumpy and snappy because of needing help from others. So don't assume that, hey, that person needs my help. They like that because they need the help. So assume the best first, and then you walk into that situation with love pouring out of you. And that literally is physical energy coming out of you that is positive, and that goes into, hits that person in a good way and increases their ability to open up, and you help them. And then that feedback loop is set up between you, and you've now entered into the community and support mindsets, and you are all benefiting. Okay, so let's now talk on page 95 briefly about the healthy stress mindset. Stress is good for you, guys. Stress is good for you, but it all depends on your perception of stress. You see, your mind is you have your thinking, feeling, and choosing, and it is the 99% of who you are. Your mind works through your brain, and your brain responds in a neurophysiological way to your mind in action. So your thinking, feeling, and choosing in response to the events and circumstances of life is basically can be categorized under the big umbrella of stress. Okay, so stress is you basically responding and your body responding to you responding. So as you think, feel, and choose in response to that email, that conversation, that movie, that thing going on at work, that thing going on at home, that relationship, that whatever it may be, as you are responding through your thinking, feeling, and choosing, which is pushing energy through your brain, you are going into a stress state. So stress is good. It increases your focus, your alertness. Neurotransmitters are released to help you to have clarity of thought, and your brain starts neuroplasticity starts happening inside of your brain and your body, and you start building networks in your brain. Now, if the situation that you are facing is a very, very toxic, challenging one, you can still stay in positive stress, which makes your body work for you and not against you. So what is toxic stress? Toxic stress is the bad one. Toxic stress is where you see your perception shifts, and instead of saying, okay, well, my heart's beating, I can feel the adrenaline pumping, I can feel I'm in alert mode, instead of thinking that those signs are bad for you, that your hypothalamic pituitary axis, which is your basically your HPA axis, which is your body responding physically to your mental state, instead of thinking that those symptoms that you feel in your body are bad, think of them as being good. When you do that, you put yourself into alert mode, even in the difficult situation, which will help you have more clarity of thought. But if you think, oh my gosh, my heart's beating fast, adrenaline's pumping, I feel terrible, I'm in toxic stress, my body's breaking down, because stress has been so misexplained in the general literature out there and in the media and so on, that people think as soon as they have their heart beating fast and they feel adrenaline, stress hormones are flowing and now that's bad. And if that perception is dominating, you actually stepping into toxic stress. So instead of the stress working for you, it's working against you. And when it works against you instead of for you, your clarity of thought drops off, your thinking drops off, your ability to get wisdom in the situation drops off, and now your body actually starts breaking down. So you physically are going to feel worse, and you're not going to make good decisions. So just by shifting your perception, you can change that. So basically, I want to read at the bottom of page 95. I cannot stress the significance of perception enough. A 2013 study used two videos, one depicting stress as debilitating to performance and one detailing the ways in which stress enhances human brain and body performance. And the participants who saw the video, basically I'll summarize it, the participants who saw the video of saying that stress is bad for you, when they went into the stressful situation, they pretty much functioned at a much lower level. But those that saw stress as something that's good for you, and then when you manage it, it works for you, they handle that same situation in a very positive way and had a positive effect on their body. So let's have a look at the bottom of page 96, the last paragraph. I say, but the good news is you can choose how you view stress. So the way you view stress, whether you see it as good or bad for you, is going to make your body work for you or against you. You literally cause the blood vessels around your heart to constrict, which means get smaller, which means less blood flows to your brain and your body when you view stress as bad for you. Okay, so stress is, if you view it as good for you, you make your body work for you. Okay, so you can choose that. You're in control. Remember, your thinking, feeling, choosing is your mind. It's the 99% of you. It moves through your brain. Your brain and your body respond to your mind. They're the 1%. Okay, so you choose how you view stress. You can learn to face a challenge and deal with it. You can learn not to let stress defeat you. You can, as I love to say, freak out in the love zone so you can be having the most terrible things happening in your life. Life happens. It's the vagaries of life are there. And you are crying, screaming, doing whatever it is that you're doing, but do it in the love zone. Do it in the positive stress zone so that you still like expressing your emotions, but you're realizing that the symptoms you're feeling in your body are good for you. And that keeps you in the zone where you can actually move forward in the correct way. So let me just read one of the activation tips. I'm going to read number 5 on page 97 for the stress mindset activation tip. Now, point number 5, when you face a challenge, tell yourself how good stress can be for you. Think of all the positive benefits mentioned above that good stress can have on your body. Tell yourself that you will have more clarity of thought if you make stress work for you and not against you. I hope that whiz through those 3 chapters have you've enjoyed that. Please get the book. If you haven't got the book, go and buy the book. Get the book for people. Get it for friends. Get a group going. You need this information. This is part of your mental health makeover that we're doing this year. We've got to get our mental health right. We've got to stand together and collaborate together and work together to improve mental health. And once again, I challenge you, please go to drleafresearch.com and consider partnering with me. Any donation will help, and any donation is going to go directly towards this research, to helping me I work with a team of medical neurosurgeons and neurologists and neuroscientists, and we are trying to perfect ways of helping people to get their mental health under control. So I'm trying to say, keep reading the book, keep joining me, get more people. Today, community mindset, support mindset, get a community going with you as you study this. Don't do it alone. Even if you have to do it on Zoom with a group of friends, or on Skype, or if you can't physically be together, practice this week, learning about the next few chapters for next week using your community mindset and your support mindset. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.